Hey guys! In today's video, I'm going to talk about my top 10 questions that I would ask my potential investors. I was just recently talking to a bunch of founders that were in the process of raising money for their startups. When they told me about their investor meetings, I realized something really interesting. They were talking about all the different questions they have been asked and also the huge pressure they felt in all these situations. And I totally get it. The decision of the investor would determine if they could continue working on their startup idea or if they needed to go back to a regular job. And of course, that is right. But in my very own experience, I think a pitch meeting should be more like a conversation, and the general relationship between founder and investor needs to be balanced. That also means that the founder has the right to ask a ton of questions to the investor, and you should definitely do it. Think of your relationship with your investor like a marriage. You will probably spend more than 5 or even 10 years together. And would you ever marry someone without dating and learning more about the other person? I guess you wouldn't. So I sat down and collected 10 questions that I would ask my potential investors when raising money. Let's start with the first one. What makes you special as an investor? I really like this question because it helps me understand where the investor is good at, and this might gives me a hint on where they could be helpful to my personal journey. Because it is my job as a founder to build an A-player team, not only of employees, but also of the people on the sideline. So let's imagine we are building a marketplace startup. It could be really cool to have someone with a ton of marketplace experience on board, as they have seen a lot of things fail, but also some things work for other companies in their portfolio. This kind of knowledge can be so valuable and save us a ton of time. The question also gives me a sense of the self-reflection skills of the investor. Question 2. How is working with you? Depending on how you are doing with your startup and how operationally involved the investor is, you might spend more time with them than with a lot of your friends. So this question makes sure that you come along with them personally and that you also have the same kind of expectations of how the collaboration will look like. Number 3. How can you help us beside the money? As mentioned earlier, investors can bring a lot more to the table than just money. And I deeply believe that most founders totally underestimate it. They are using their cap table poorly or not at all. A lot of VCs or business angels have been operators before and know exactly what challenges lie ahead. Maybe you can take a shortcut if you know about it. This can be literally anything from intros to co-investors, customers, or just sharing their best practices. Question 4. What is your biggest learning in investing? I really like if people are humble and always very reflective about the stuff they do, no matter if they are still in business or full-time investing. I believe that learning never stops, so I use this kind of question to get a sense of what the learning curve for the investor looked like and if they agree with the fact that they are also still learning stuff. Question 5. How many investments have you made in the last 6 months? This question is important to understand if a fund is actively investing, looking for opportunities, or if they are just opportunistic. You really want to have someone on board who is eager to find new companies and support them, not someone who did his last investment in the 90s. Question 6. How do you make an investment decision? How long does it take? Also a very interesting and important question. On the one hand, we want to understand what the timeline for the investment decision is like. So does it take 1 week, 2 weeks, or several months? And on the other hand, we want to understand the different hurdles we need to take. Is there a planned step-by-step interview process? Is there an investment committee? And who's the person in charge? Who's the one who can take the shot? If we have all this information, we can use it in a way that really helps us bring the decision closer. Number 7. In what percentage of your investments are you participating in the next round? You might ask yourself why this question is important, but especially for VCs, there's a thing that's called signaling risk. But what is that? Imagine you raise a seed round from a well-known VC investor. Your business grew and you are now raising a Series A round. But the VC does not want to invest again in your company because they have better deals on the table and they can do a follow-on for all of their companies. Now, other VCs that are looking at your deal will think something is off because the investor with the most information, so the one on your cap table, drops out. In these kind of situations, it's really difficult to build up momentum and find someone to invest in your company. Number 8, what are you expecting from us as a team? The alignment of core values and goals is one of the most important things. I can tell you from my own experience. So make sure to explicitly talk about that and make the expectations clear. Through that, you can prevent annoying conflicts later on. Question 9, what are your assumptions when investing in us? Investing money into startups is always high risk. and I like to understand what the person is betting on if they are writing a check. This can be a growing market, the capability of the founding team, or something totally different. Question 10. Can you give me the contact of 2 founders you already invested in? This question is really important. Investors will do their due diligence on you and your company, and they might request the contact of other people you work with. So you should do the same. It's a good hour spent interviewing other portfolio companies of portfolio founders of the VCs and asking them how the collaboration is looking like. I hope these questions have been helpful to you, and make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content on building and growing your startup.